Okay, hello everyone. Hello, and welcome to ETTA Day, the future of jobs. I will just check how many of you have already joined our session. And the session that I have a pleasure to conduct today with Magda Plewniak is on the importance of curiosity and its role in unlocking growth, connection, and leadership. And let me introduce very briefly myself. My name is Monika Matuszyńska, and I'm an intercultural trainer. I also work with leaders in terms of developing their leadership skills. And I specialize and I'm very passionate about the topic of emotion and stress regulation and control. And now I will pass over to Magda.
Hello, everyone. It is very nice to meet you today. My name is Magda Plewniak, and what I do professionally is actually working with leaders at most. I am a long-year manager myself, and not long ago I just moved to consultancy. And what I focus on is mainly the structurizing the, let's say, people processes. So let's call it like a people management in organizations. And that refers to many different areas of this people management. So it's both like doing the coaching with executives and developing the leadership skills, but also some more structural work with processes and establishing the proper structure and links in between the people. But I also work with ETTA, which is a very big pleasure to me, and I try to help people to adhere all the good rules of how to lead others and how to lead themselves as well, because those two topics are actually very connected. Personally, I am very interested into how people function in the world and in the work context, and I love working with my body. Okay, how do we work today? So we have only 45 minutes today for ourselves, so it's not a lot, and we have a lot of material. We will have two interaction spots, let's say. Once we will work with Monty, and the second time we will do the discussion. So please be present and active with us. The content for today is divided into four blocks. The first one is devoted to the definition of the curiosity, however, let's say, complex it is. Then we will discuss why it is important to be curious. Then we will talk about the strength and also possible traps connected with being maybe too curious sometimes. And then we will give you a voice in this Q&A session.
Yes, and we'll start with this definition of curiosity, and we will use this question as an opportunity to ask you this question and for the small, let's say, icebreaker activity. So I would like to invite you to join Mentimeter, and you can join Mentimeter by three ways. You can scan this QR code, or you can type in the number that you can see on the slide. And also Marta will send you on the chat the link that you can click and access it very easily. So the moment you do it, you will see the question that is visible on the slide. What association do you have with the word curiosity? And we are very curious to find out what are your associations and your connotations. And we will use this answer, your answers, as a starting point for further discussion. So please type in your first association that comes to your mind. And I will just move us very quickly to this webpage of Mentimeter so that we could see your answers. Okay, and we already have some. So the associations that you have is wanting to know more, deep dive, never stop wondering, knowledge, exploration.
Deep dive is cool. Dive is like, it's always deep dive with, you can deep dive actually with a very simple stuff sometimes. And that's really nice.
We have 6 responses, so maybe let's wait a second more to see if there will be any other.
Never
Okay.
stop wondering. Yeah.
Still 6, but I do like, these connotations about learning, about knowledge. It's like a core fundamental thing about curiosity. Okay, so I think that's all. That then I can't see any other new responses. So I will just present the presentation. And we'll start with this definition. Thank you very much for your association, for your answers. And let's see how the curiosity is understood. However, there are many, many definitions depending on from what angle we want to analyze this notion. But the ones that I like very much is that it is the impulse to learn more. And this is also something that was in your answers about learning, about knowledge. So this is the impulse to learn more and to examine and rewrite old assumptions. It is also desire to know, to see, and to experience. This desire motivates information seeking and learning. So this is about this, never-ending path towards new knowledge, towards learning. And we often think about curiosity. When we think about curiosity, we often see like these small kids at the age of 4 or 5 who never stop asking questions about everything, why something is working this way or why something looks like this. So we know that this is something that is so much associated with little kids. Because this is true that we are all born curious. And at the age of 4 or 5, we are somehow peaking in this level of curiosity. Unfortunately, later on, this level declines. But the good news is that we can practice this skill throughout all our life. And this is like a muscle that we can cultivate and exercise and make it stronger. So this is, I think, absolutely a great news.
Yeah, before I go to the next slide, I want to comment, Monika, on what you have said, that this building this habit of being curious is actually very possible, and it's actually very needed in our life. And that's exactly what I wanna say on the next slide, that we have this very, let's say, common and most popular definition of curiosity, that this is about learning, about finding new perspectives, about understanding and so on. But for me also, and that's what I want to stress here, that the curiosity is also as some kind of an interface and a helping tool that gives you access to some other things, like it opens up for other things. And those other things for me is, for example, I will talk about later, is inclusion or engagement or flexibility, and those are all traits that are very useful in our modern world. Yes, that's why for me curiosity and building this habit of becoming more curious than frustrated, so building this habit actually helps us to somehow navigate in this very complex modern world that is in front of us, that is fast changing, and that is also giving us like an overwhelm of information and knowledge. And just not to get crazy or not to freak out, we actually would like to employ probably this curiosity that gives us, let's say, that puts us more at ease with this huge amount of knowledge that stays in front of us. So for me, the curiosity is also a gateway to other things.
Yes, so now let's have a look at the benefits. Yeah, why does curiosity matter? And I think that it is worth to have a look in the first place at our brain and what is actually happening in our brain, because what we already know is that curiosity really is very important, and it's really visible in the way our brain is functioning and how the information is being shaped. So we have here like three areas in our brain which are very, very active during this moment of curiosity. And the first mechanism that is happening is the increased dopamine release. And we know that the dopamine is like a crucial neurotransmitter which is associated with the pleasure, with the reward system. So we know that when something interesting or curious is happening to us, we have like this increased dopamine release. So this dopamine level is really very high in our brain, which in turn motivates us to further explore and seek more information. Another area in our brain that is very, very connected with this curiosity is hippocampus, which is another crucial element in our brain, which is stimulated during this curiosity moment, which in turn helps us to better learn and to acquire new information, so is responsible for the memory. So overall, thanks to these curiosity moments, we have like improved problem solving, as this curiosity encourages us to engage more in problem solving activities. So this is at this level of our brain, which I think is quite important and useful to understand, so that we could look further and at these wider benefits of curiosity. And these benefits are really enormous. And the ones that you will see here on the slide are more connected with the leadership role and this at this organizational level, but not only, because I would say that these benefits are very universal, no matter in which business units you work. However, when I was working on the slide, I was thinking mostly about the leadership role and managerial tasks. So thanks to curiosity, we commit fewer decision-making errors, because curiosity leads us to generate alternatives and share unique perspectives. So I do like the sentence that I once read in the book, that curiosity and judgment, they cannot exist together. They can't coexist. So we cannot be judgmental if we are curious. So this is something that I always tell my leaders that I'm working with, that this is something that opens their mind, yeah, that it's something that really proves and shows these benefits of this curious attitude. Another benefit is related to reduced group conflict and more open communication, as the curiosity encourages members to put themselves in one another's shoes. And thanks to curiosity, we are breaking the silos and we are learning how to work more effectively together. And the last but not least is about more innovation and positive changes in the workplace. Because when we are curious, we view tough situations more creatively, and we are more ready to question the status quo. So these are like the three blocks of benefits that I think that each of the leader could admit that, yeah, this is something that we are dealing with, and we are seeing the benefits in these areas. But it's not all, yeah.
I want to add a few words to what Monika has already said. Yes. So for me, as I mentioned by the previous slide, curiosity is also a very good response. Could you, Monika, please move to the next slide? That would be yeah. It's also a very good response to our modern world, modern world. I'm sorry. It's because the complexity of it requires from us to be kind of resilient with this amount of information that is given. So for me, being curious allows us to avoid certain frustration with that we can get when we need to actually go through too many options, too many information, through knowledge that is actually getting out of date very quickly. I speak to leaders often, or even to people that are present on a job market for long, and they are sometimes frustrated with the situation that they need to learn again. They need to change into some other area again. And when you actually develop this very curious mindset, when you start to think, okay, but maybe it's not about the change that is troublesome. Maybe this is something curious behind the corner, yes? So when you adopt this curious mode, then you become more open-minded, more flexible. Then you actually go smoother and try to, develop your own career or develop your work and in a more smooth way. So I would say that being curious is a good habit to have in the world that is changing fast and that is super, super complex.
And the superpower, I would say, for some.
Yes, I would say it gives you the power to kind of navigate through the very complex, meander of this world. We can
Exactly.
move to the next slide because I guess I have also there is something about building the bridges, but I will talk about it also. Yes. So when I think about the curiosity as a gateway, for me, it gives you this special power to enter into inclusion or even engagement. When it comes to inclusion, for me, this is like mm, that curiosity is not only about learning, not only about gaining a certain amount of knowledge, it's also about connecting. It's understanding some other's perspective. As you said, Monica, it's like entering someone else's shoes. And I believe when we do that truly, then we become more understanding and we kind of are more open um, to include this perspective into the whole range of various perspectives that there are about a certain phenomenon always, yes? So for me, being inclusive is also being curious. If you're not curious about someone or even some idea that is fully different from what you support, when you don't include curiosity in that, it's much more difficult for you to kind of include it. Yes, it doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but at least you may try to understand it and to become less opposite towards it. Yes, that's how I think about curiosity when we wanna employ it to build a connection. So summing up, it's less breaking down barriers. It's more building bridges when you include curiosity in this area of inclusion. And it's the same thing with, or similar thing with the engagement. Someone said here on this mentee slide that it's having a lot of wonders. Yes, it's like wondering all the time. I fully agree. Like implementing this habit of curiosity gives you this huge advantage of being actually joyful in a way because you feel like the world is full of adventures. If you accept those adventures that they come and that they can be also very nice, then it's easier to move on through all the changes and sometimes difficult stuff. So, being curious is about discovering, about wondering. It's also about being a child, as you said, Monica, like becoming, looking at things from the perspective of a child more. Sometimes it does not solve problems immediately because for that you need to probably employ more work and effort, but the perspective counts. I mean, we all know that, especially in the times when, I don't know, we all suffer from various mental health problems. We know that the perspective matters. So having this curious perspective gives you more aha moments, probably gives you more opportunities that you see. You see more possibilities than blockers. Also allows you to enjoy the change a little bit more and build meaningful connections, I would say. So for me, when I work with teams, I always say try to be curious about your different perspectives. I know it's such a slogan, but actually it helps. It builds engagement and it builds this kind of teamwork that is valuable and leads to a certain synergy between those various people and often strong specialists in their own fields. And you can imagine that if you are all specialists in your own fields, then you have a strong convince that you know better. So if you employ curiosity, then from this various knowledge that you possess all together, you can create this synergy that is then beneficial and actually leads to a success of a team. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, and you mentioned, Magda, that you encourage team members to include more this curiosity approach. And now perhaps it's a good time to learn some of this curious strategy and some tips that hopefully will be useful for you to find out, to learn. So the tips about how to do it, yeah, on an everyday basis. But before I will do it, I would like to ask you, who are present here during the session, to check what is your level of curiosity. So this is a very easy questionnaire. You will see on the screen 7 sentences, and I would like to ask each of you to read these 7 sentences and to judge if you are true and you agree with it, or it's false to you and it's not absolutely you and you disagree. And at the end, I would like to ask you to type on the chat window whether you had like more false answers or more true. So this will be the first part of this small exercise. So please read carefully the sentences and judge if you agree or not agree with it. So I enjoy tasks that require problem solving, is the first one. The second is I'm comfortable with situations where I don't know what to expect. Another is I like to analyze situations carefully. The fourth, I'm constantly seeking out new experiences. Another is I always like to know why behind. I like to know how the things work. And the last one is I get excited when I discover new knowledge. So I would ask you to type on the chat window whether you had like, out of the 7 sentences, the majority was true or 6 on 7.
Whoa, that's so cool. That's a lot. I'm thinking about myself. I like to analyze situations carefully. Not always, to be honest.
5,
Yeah,
7.
I'm excited.
So I understand that these are the majority of true and I agree answers, yeah?
Yeah, that's how I understand it. Yes.
Okay, yes.
Which one resonates with you at most, Monika? Do you have one?
Yes. I like the last one. I get excited when I discover new knowledge.
Okay, so we're different.
Never
Because
ending
when
story of learning.
when we were creating that, I was always thinking that I like the middle one. I am constantly seeking out new experiences. I'm a lot about experiencing. Yes. Maybe this is not
But the
bad
new
habit.
knowledge, this moment of acquiring something, or finding out new information, this is something that is exciting for
Yeah,
you.
the
Okay.
answer. I like the Marta answer. I must be a frikatka because I honestly have like 6.5. Nice. Yes, nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so thank you for that. So no wonder we are here on the session, yeah, about curiosity, because most of you is curious. Okay, so now let's move on to these practical strategies
Yeah,
for
practical
fostering
tips.
curiosity. And I would like to share with you the ones that I think are quite simple, but when implemented well with this, proper mindset, they should work because this mindset is quite important, and I will tell you why. So how can I develop my curiosity? So the first, I would say, like set of tips is about this asking questions. And those of you who have experience in coaching or in mentoring, you know that this proper asking of questions is very crucial. It brings really huge benefits for the person you are talking to, but also very often for yourself. So I would like to present you like this 3 types of questions, which should be asked with this mindset of curiosity and not the mindset of information gathering. So we want to find out more, and we want to find out how the person is thinking, why he is thinking this way. So the first kind of question is starting with I wonder, I'm curious about. So asking a very simple starting a sentence by this way, which will enable you to express interest. Yeah? So this is something that is more opening. It is not about your perspective. It is something that somehow allows people to think that, okay, I'm not very sure, but I'm curious how something looks like or will happen. So I wonder, I'm curious about. The second type of question, it's more open-ended questions. So we try to ask questions which will not give us yes and no answer, but which will, again, enable the person we are talking to express his or her opinion and to present their thoughts. So asking why, what if. And the last type of questions is asking about people's opinions. The answer may offer very valuable knowledge to us. So simply, what do you think? What's your opinion? What would you do if you were in my shoes? So everything that will enable us to, again, to encourage the person we are talking to express his opinion. And this mindset of curiosity instead of information gathering is something that I would like to leave you with. Magda, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, I always think about one, let's say sentence or approach I use because I mix the two. I always say, what if I approach it with curiosity? And this is especially in a situation of not knowing or
Mhm.
some difficulty or change or something that is not actually on the plan. So it kind of makes me then, in a way, softer. Yes, like I am not frustrated and stiff that something does not go according to the plan, but I try
It allows
to
for
look at it.
flexibility.
Yeah, what if I could
Mhm.
approach it with curiosity? Yes.
Yes, so let's
Okay.
say that this first set of tips is about this asking questions. What else? This one may sound very easy, but it's not easy. It's about the adapting the sense of not knowing and admitting that I don't know something, which we know is very, very difficult. And sometimes, especially the leaders, refrain from asking questions and refrain from admitting that they do not know something. So it's about not being afraid not to know and to ask questions. Move from judgment to learning. So here I would like to share with you the plussing technique, the technique that was developed in Pixar Studio, and which is about not criticizing the ideas which have already appeared, but adding to these ideas. So even if let's imagine that we are working with a team with our team, and we are asking what to do in a given situation, and each team member gives us some ideas of steps that we should take. And we are not criticizing them, but we are doing, okay, what else would you would add to that? So we are building on what was already said, and this is a great way of also of giving feedback, and it builds this culture of using non-judgmental language. So it is about curiosity, but also about this proper way of giving feedback, and I do like it. It's called plussing technique. The next one is simply invite others in the process of discovery and finding solutions. So invite as many people as we can to think of some processes, of some steps that perhaps could be useful in a given situation, and seek diverse perspective. So it is all about being very open-minded, I would say. And at this level of organization, if you are a leader, a manager, there are also things that you can do. The first one, the most obvious one, is being role model. So leader must himself just demonstrate these skills of asking good questions, and he or she can also teach his team members how to ask these questions. But it is also about rewarding the learning process, the learning path as such, and not only the performance and the results. I would say that the second point is quite important. It's about encouraging people to broaden their networks. It's about creating some interest circles, creating some meetings or opportunities for people to meet between the departments, to break the silos, and to make people just feel curious about their colleagues from work. Perhaps not the ones that they are working on a daily basis, but the ones that work somewhere else. I know that some organizations hold these why days or meetings. So the meetings where people are questioning some things that are functioning and asking why this something works like this. So this is about this why days, why meetings.
Can I interrupt you here?
Yeah.
Because this is amazing practice. Because we used to have it in one of the companies I used to work for, and the funny thing is that when we really give people space to ask those questions about some, I don't know, procedures or things that happen in the certain way, and
Mhm.
some people are frustrated or angry that they happen that way. But when you give the space to ask about that, very often it appears that it is actually reasonably created, like reasonably designed. Just people didn't know that it's for something. So let's say usually the end result of such a session is that half of those things
Mhm.
probably we change somehow a little bit, but half of those things are just being accepted by people. They just did not know. They didn't have a chance to to learn it a little bit deeper. Yes, why it functions that way. So
People need to know this
it's a
why.
really good practice. Yes, yes.
People
Mhm.
need to know this why, and I'm sure that it helps in many situations. Five whys technique, it is pretty much the same. It's about, this digging for solutions, this deep diving that one of you wrote on this Mentimeter. It's about trying to find this why. And the last, but I would say that perhaps it should be put like in the first place, it's about psychological safety. So we can think of many tips, of many strategies, but they will not work unless we feel safe in the team, in the organization.
Mm.
And the psychological safety is like a key condition that must be met. And this concept of psychological safety has become quite popular in the last years. And this is absolutely a huge topic for a different session, but I would like to only present you now the definition by Amy Edmondson, who has coined this notion. And to present it very briefly, the psychological safety is about this feeling that I will not be punished, I will not be humiliated for speaking up, for asking questions, for presenting my ideas, my concerns, my mistakes. So we need to feel safe in order to let ourselves be curious. So
Mm.
for me, these two topics are so much, related.
This is a very important point, and I would agree with you that probably the most important one. It also, links to what you have said earlier on the slide that in order to admit that you don't know,
Mhm.
or in order to openly even say that you're against, that you don't understand someone else's point of view, because there are conflicts hidden underneath so often in the teams, in the organizations, yes, or there is no actually approval for saying that I don't know, while actually in our times this is crucial to accept it that we will make failures and we will often find ourselves in the situation that we don't know, because everything changes so fast. I really don't know anyone nowadays who would know everything. Of course, I am not I am not advertising here a situation where you should know a certain basic stuff and you don't, because this is not what I advertise, but just being open to leaving the comfort zone, let's call it this way, because only those teams that leave the comfort zone, they actually can create something new that can be a success, yeah? So
Mhm.
I guess we need to learn how to make space for this, I don't know how to call it, this fragility, yes?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And just to add the last thing about the psychological safety, it is of course on the leaders, to
Mm.
create this climate for this psychological safety, for this openness and this feeling that, yeah, whatever I will say, whatever I mean, whatever information I will share, it will be accepted. I will not get punished for that. Yeah. So this is about this psychological safety. And yes, and this sentence is that we need to also remember, especially the leaders, that if we are curious, it will simply inspire others to be curious. Yeah. So it is not that only we will demonstrate this behavior, but we will also inspire others to behave this way. Okay, but there are also potential traps that Magda will present.
Yes, I am the one who goes against the mainstream because I can observe also such trends or such phenomenons that scares me in a way, and I want to point out I want to show them to you as well. That nowadays I observe that people try to learn everything often. And this information overload actually may lead to some kind of analysis paralysis. I fully support the analytical thinking, but I believe that sometimes you just cannot take all the information given to a certain topic and analyze it before you make a decision. Sometimes you just need to accept that you have analyzed, I don't know, 80% of the information, and that's it. So being curious in such a way that you're actually getting stuck with digesting the info, digesting the knowledge, it's not good, yes. Also, when people try to learn a lot of stuff at the same time, they try to be aware of so many things and be at least a little bit professional in too many areas, then it may lead you to a certain point of distraction and lack of focus. And I believe this is not what we want, because still in this world where there are many things, you need to specialize in something, at least for something. I would say it's like with multitasking. We should not multitask. We should do things one after the other. So if you want to learn a lot of stuff, just do, but pick few, learn it, and then move to others. When you start to deal with everything at the same time, then it becomes usually shallow, and it also may lead to lack of focus, and lack of focus never leads to a really good excellence, yes, because to be really pro in something, you need to go deep. Okay. So what I would say is we need to be somehow balanced with this being curious. And what I want to point out also is this emptiness of learning. It happens. I observe it in the society that sometimes we do not. Maybe this is something what you mentioned, Monica. This is like information gathering more. Like we don't really learn things deeply. We just consume a lot of facts, a lot of data, a lot of information. So remember that genuine curiosity is really driven by the desire to understand, then apply, and through that grow. When you only consume a lot of facts, a lot of data, and a lot of knowledge, and you never apply it, then in my opinion, it's empty. Because it's like I read it somewhere, I wrote it somewhere here. It's like owning a map but never taking a journey. Like be uh, careful with absorbing knowledge, like learn and apply, only then it makes sense. So it's always about intent. Pick consciously what you want to learn and then practice that, and that will give you a deep knowledge, and that will give you this professional knowledge and this excellence we all strive for. That's how I look at that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I absolutely agree with that, and especially in this time when we have access to every information that we want to. Yeah, there is so much, like we may be tempted to find out everything, but the question that we should ask ourselves is why. Yeah.
Yes,
Very
why and why this thing exactly.
important. So I think it's a very, very useful perspective. Okay, so in fact, we are slowly approaching the end of the session. It's not the end, but we are showing you here our mail addresses so that if there are any questions, if you were interested in any topic that we discussed today, you can reach out us and contact us. So you can see here our ETTA Go Global addresses. And this is also time for a very, very short takeaway question that we would like to ask you. So please write again in this chat window one thing that was the most inspiring, or perhaps was new to you, or was curious. You felt that this is something that I want to find out more. We would really appreciate if you could just give us some information here in this webinar chat window. What is your takeaway? One thing. And we will be here waiting for your responses. But perhaps in the meantime, we can also tell you about the upcoming events.
Yes, the upcoming events, we have actually two very nice things happening soon. So one is the Global Leader Day that is being organized by ETTA on 24th of June. Like the formula of it will be similar to what we have today. So it's going to be a set of webinars devoted to the leadership skills. I think it may be very valuable for everyone who is dealing with people, who is leading the teams, who is leading the organizations. So if you want to learn something more about the modern leadership, about the direction where leadership is heading right now, please join us on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least is our mastermind group. What ETTA is starting right now is totally new product and offer for you, a mastermind. We are planning to start 3 mastermind teams soon. Each of them is devoted to another topic. One is devoted to how to lead a remote team. The second one is focusing on how to deal with a Gen Z at work. And the third one deals how to build international exposure. I would like to really I would like to invite you to this mastermind a lot. Why? Because it's a great option for someone who is already leading a team and who is already working in a leadership environment. Usually, when we owe those leadership positions, we feel quite lonely on those positions, and we are seeking for individuals who are in the same situation as we are. So this is going to be like a group that I would call like your tribe, yes? People who are sitting in different organizations than you do, but have similar problems. So you will have 6 sessions with people who are actually facing similar problems, but in a different context. I think this is really amazing opportunity to learn and exchange the solutions and the learning between you. If you apply and enroll for this mastermind in the nearest 3 days, you will get a discount with the code, which I can't see now, with Grow with ETTA Global, I believe. This is the Grow with ETTA. This is the code you need to use, and within nearest 3 days, you are able to enroll at the lowest price. If you want to read about it, enter our page at goglobal.com, and there you have the full description of all the masterminds, also the dates and the topics. So feel free to
And I
enter.
will also add that Marta has just sent on the chat the more
the link.
information. So you can check the details on this mastermind by clicking on the link. And I would like to thank you for your comments and for the things that you are taking after this session. Thank you very much. Thank you for your participation and your engagement in this short 2 activities.
Yes.
And we encourage you to stay curious, and to practice and to at least implement at least a few of these techniques that we have shared with you, remembering about the traps as well.
And hope to see you soon on some other webinars.
Yes.